966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll free 800-790-0415 or soundbytes.org. Now, alongside Steve Ray and Dave Enright, here's Nick Francesco on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. American, all chips in the PC. It is Saturday, the 13th day of July, Anno Domini 2019, and you lucky people. You're listening to Soundbites. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 6 minutes after the hour, we're going to be bringing you news, views, things to choose. Kick off your shoes, nothing to lose. Don't get the blues. Here comes the news.
And there it is.
And there it is. I'm a little behind the times today, but I'm working at it, and we'll get things done at some point. So here's a great one. There's a new malware attack, and it has a terrific name. It's called Great Duke of Hell malware. Researchers from the Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection Research Team have issued a warning to confirm that a notorious credential-stealing malware threat is targeting Windows users. What makes this one so dangerous is that it uses an invisible man methodology by only running files within the attack chain that are legitimate system tools, so it hides in plain sight. The Astaroth Trojan can employ many techniques, including, get it, Astaroth, Great Duke of Hell? Okay, never mind.
I thought it was the Duke of Earl.
Including key logging and clipboard monitoring to steal login credentials. However, it is the way that it exploits living off the land binaries, or LOL bins, that creates a certain level of infamy for the malware. LOL bins, or lol bins.
How can I have lols?
You can have lols. Are programs that are legit. Often signed compiled code that executes malicious compiled code in a manner that is not intended by the original programmers and is almost never caught by an antivirus or anti-malware program because it's legitimate programs.
And that's often why we get so many false positives in our AV software is because they're trying to figure out what might be malicious operations because the bad guys often hide as a legitimate program name. Yeah,
and they could be very well hidden in there that would go undetected for quite a while.
Right, and I'd much rather have a false positive than miss something that's real.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. In the case of the threat campaign that the newly published Microsoft report confirms, it was Windows Management Instrument Command Line, or WMIC, that was the lol bin in question. Andrea Lelli, part of the Microsoft Defender ATP. I want to point out that this is Microsoft Defender, Microsoft's antivirus program, that caught this. I'm actually very impressed by that.
It's a one and only time that it worked right.
Andrea Lelli, part of the Microsoft Defender ATP research team, and author of the report, notes that the victim still has to click on a malicious link in an email. Stop clicking on links in email. To initiate the very complex attack chain, which also involves obfuscated JavaScript code and more legitimate system tools. These attacks are considered challenging to detect, as the full process of deployment and execution of the malware is by way of those Windows lol bins. To an average person, this activity can seem like a legitimate Windows activity because it's being executed by Windows processes. However, using invisible techniques and being actually invisible are two different things, Lelli explained. Because some of the techniques used were so unusual and anomalous, Microsoft Defender ATP, the commercial version of Windows Defender antivirus component that is included free of charge with Windows 10, was able to spot the Astaroth attack. Other programs are catching up. If you're not using Windows Defender ATP, however, don't open .lnk and .zip files that come as mail attachments. How difficult is that? Just don't do it. Lovely. You'll like that.
Well, that's a lol bin.
Yeah. And of course, if you have some more to say about this, you can join us in the forums. If you scroll down on the right under Fascinating Stuff, the first link is the forums. This time we're in the first forum down, the show discussion, and the topic is 1907-12, the Great Duke of Hell malware attack. You can join us there, and of course, you can also give us a call, 585-966-JAZZ. It's 966-5299. Toll free, 1-800-790-0415.
One of the problems is that so many people's jobs rely on opening attachments in email that it's impossible to be wary enough, basically. We used to say don't open attachments from people you don't know, but the bad guys will spoof names. And so it is from someone you know, just a malicious attachment. So now most of the mail servers have to scan the attachments before they go through. But there are some lower-end mail servers, I guess, that don't bother. They'll take anyone's mail.
Yeah, right.
And so they can get through. I just heard a story about a university researcher, I'm trying to find it too, where if not for 7 words, he would have been tricked by this malware. He got an invitation to judge an economic prize.
Nice.
Well, his first red flag was he's not an economist, he's a software developer. But then the email he got, all the links were valid.
Nice.
Back to the school that was doing the prize, and all you had to do was download and fill out a form, your voting form, basically, from this URL, which was hosted by the school. So everything looked okay.
Yep.
Someone hijacked somebody's school account to put malicious download in it, but then it said you must use Firefox to view this file. And that's the final straw that tripped him up, because Mozilla just patched a 0-day in Firefox last week. And if you didn't have the Firefox updated, this malicious patch would send all of your passwords to the person that sent you the file.
Nice.
So it reads all your password stores. In fact, that is becoming an issue. It's happened a few times in Google. You can tell Firefox or Chrome or now even Safari to save your passwords.
Right.
And they link under your account name.
Right.
If someone breaks into your Google account, they are now you. And when they log into your Gmail, all of your passwords sync to them.
Yep.
For everything you have, your banks, your websites, your credit cards, every password you've saved is now going to the bad guys. So don't use the password store in your browser. Use an external password store like KeePass or LastPass or 1Password, so that you don't have to worry as much about this specific problem.
Right.
You can worry about the other problems.
Also, never share passwords. Places now, I logged on to one of the hosting sites that I use, and they immediately came back and said, please change your password immediately. We've had a breach.
Yep.
And I wasn't that worried, since I do not reuse passwords ever, so I only had to change one.
Yeah.
But I changed the one immediately, and then I went and looked at all my files and to see what, because there was nothing.
Yeah.
So they had clearly not hit my account; they had hit their password store somewhere.
And most of the commercial password managers will watch the password breach lists and then tell you if somebody gets breached,
right?
Which is handy as well.
Right. So be careful. Use an external password manager. Don't reuse passwords. I know we say this all the time, but you know what? You're still doing it. You know you're still doing it. So stop.
And they can send out 100 million emails. And we used to talk about direct postal messaging. Junk mail, postal mail, 1% response is considered good.
Right.
Yeah.
With internet junk mail, 0.1%, it will make you millions of dollars.
It costs almost nothing. It costs zero if you're using Gmail or one of those.
Or you steal someone else's account.
So all they honestly have to do is get one person to pay them money, and they've profited.
Yeah, they're going by the percentages, and it's in their favor.
Right.
Because, like B.T. Barnum once said, there's a sucker born every minute.
And that person's mother must be so tired by now.
And the, well, and this,
Blake.
the scams are getting so much better. They're worded better. You get now they're actually going to scary messages. Your computer's been hacked. Call this phone number to clean you out. And
I love it when they do it for
correct.
for my Chromebook.
Yep.
They can send me all the messages they want on my Chromebook, and I enjoy them.
Yeah, right. It's a moment of humor.
Yeah, it is.
I got one the other day that looked utterly legitimate, and it wasn't until I took a look at the headers, because if you know what you're looking for, you can look at the headers and see where something came from. That I saw they had spoofed the address and they had spoofed a whole bunch of things. It was coming from somewhere in Russia.
Because they can pull the real
Boy, it
logos.
looked good. Yeah,
they can pull the real logos from the real sites. They can put all the links on it. I've seen a bunch of the fake Apple letters. We'll have the Apple security goes to the right place. The Apple website goes to the right place. The click here to fix, it goes to the wrong place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to be careful. Anyway, to the phones. Our first caller is Bodan. Our pal Bodan from Rochester, New York. Hiya, Bodan. What's up?
Hi, guys. Good afternoon. Hey, I got a question. I'm having an issue. I bought myself a new desktop PC. It's a refurbished model that I got online, but it's a pretty good price. It's running Windows 10 Pro. The issue is this. That model of the desktop has two outputs to hook up to the monitor, the traditional VGA, and now it's got a newer connection called a DisplayPort. At first I thought it was like an HDMI. It's not. It's called DisplayPort.
Yeah, that's actually older.
So I bought myself an adapter. I bought myself a cable. It's one end is DisplayPort and the other end is DVI-D. And when I hook it up, the monitor comes on for about 3 seconds. It says digital input, and then it goes black. And there's nothing more. Then I took that off, and I went back to the VGA cable to both ends, VGA on the output of the computer, VGA to the input of the monitor. It's a Dell brand monitor. Monitor may be about 5 years old, roughly maybe 5, 6. It works fine. It works fine with the VGA to the VGA, but as soon as I disconnect that cable and put in the DisplayPort into the back of the computer and the DVI into the monitor, again, it comes up for a couple of seconds and it goes to black. So the question is this. Is it an issue with the computer? Is it an issue with the monitor? Or is there a setting somewhere that I need to change? But I can't change it because the computer, after a few seconds, goes to black. The monitor goes to black.
Right.
It can depend on what version of DisplayPort it is and what resolutions it supports. And then the monitor, it depends on whether it's DVI-I or DVI-D. You mentioned it was a DVI-D cable you bought. Maybe the monitor needs DVI-I.
What's I just saw the DVI connection. I didn't know that there was a DVI-I and DVI-D.
Yeah, and you have to check your monitor specs and hope it tells you which one it needs.
Right. So, on the one hand, a DVI-I connector is not that terribly expensive, but still, you don't want to buy it if you don't need it. But Steve is right. There's DVI-D and DVI-I, and if check the monitor specs. Every monitor has a serial, not just a serial number, but also a model number, and you can check on Dell's website, on their support site, to see if that model number has the full specs. If you don't have them.
So again, even though it has a DVI connector, there's an I version and a D version. I was not aware of that.
And there's
the
also
cable definitely says DisplayPort DP male to DVI-D male adapter cable core.
Yeah, there's also single link DVI and dual link DVI. What resolution are you trying to run the monitor at? That's the what, the fifth thing now you have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're trying to run it at higher than, I think, 2550, then you need dual link DVI.
Right. But they all have slightly different connectors.
Yeah.
So you, theoretically, if you looked up, what did you search for?
DVI
well, I would
connector.
have to look up the model of the Dell monitor and then go and see what that is. And
That's
then,
exactly what you want to do.
Go from there.
I found a chart once with 1,000 different connector types.
Yeah.
The wonderful thing about standards is there's so many of them to choose from.
And they're all
slightly different.
So why do they do things to make things difficult?
Well,
why can't there be a simple solution?
That's what keeps us in business.
Yeah, and each one is better. So the VGA was the old analog, video graphics array, and then they came out with DVI for digital, and then DisplayPort could run higher quality monitors, and then meanwhile the televisions started adding HDMI, which is more of a TV standard than a computer standard. So now monitors have added HDMI because that's what a lot of the computers are now getting to plug into television. So it's kind of merging between HDMI and DisplayPort. I was setting up a computer for a customer yesterday, and the new computer came with 2 DisplayPorts and 1 HDMI, and that doesn't help us with our VGA monitors. so
how do you figure that out?
Hopefully it's in the specs for that device. It will tell you exactly which one you need.
And the reason that folks like Steve and companies that do stuff like Steve does have less trouble with this is because they carry multiple cables.
Yeah.
So if
guys, I'm looking at the back of that Dell monitor. It says manufactured 67M like mother, and then there's 2 numbers. One is an MOR-1907 FPVI parentheses B, and then below that it says 7735431030P0AZL.
That sounds more like a serial number.
Yeah.
The top one's probably the model number. Yeah. Oh, and I forgot about DVIA.
Right. Don't forget DVIA. But yeah, definitely go put the model number. And honestly, if the one doesn't work, try the other one. But I think that second one, I agree with Steve. I think that second one is a serial number.
No, because actually, I think the serial number is there's a white sticker there that begins with CN, and then it goes even longer.
Yeah, but
that could be too.
That could be too, but. Often there's the serial number from the company, the serial number from the manufacturer, then the serial number from the seller. I've seen things with 3 or 4 different serial numbers.
Okay.
And the reseller might have a separate serial number. It just gets a little nuts after a while. But, it's just a matter of typing those numbers into Dell's website and see which one it takes.
And the other question is, guys, is this. I was hoping to get a sharper, crisper image using the DisplayPort output of the computer into the DVI connector into the monitor. How much better or sharper of a picture will I have if I got that right cable as opposed to just using the traditional VGA?
Well, it's going to be very different. The VGA is analog.
Yeah.
DVI is digital. So theoretically, you start out with a much better signal.
Yeah. Although there were tests when the DVI standards first started coming out, and monitors that had analog and digital together weren't as good as monitors that were digital only.
Interesting.
Yeah. Something they have to have that analog circuitry in them.
Yeah, the extra circuitry.
Yeah.
But
okay, stuff for me to investigate and look into.
Yeah.
There you go.
See, you thought it was just going to be easy.
I know. Now I got more headaches.
It's an adventure, not a headache.
All righty. Thanks for the road trip.
Yeah. Good luck. I actually am about to face that issue. I have a Raspberry Pi that I want to set up, but I realized I've got 2 extra monitors sitting around unused. Both of them are VGA only.
Yeah.
Which tells you how old they are. So I had to buy an HDMI to VGA adapter, and I'll play with that later today and see if I can get anything out of it at all.
Have you heard about the Raspberry Pi 4?
Yes. Have you heard about the problems with the Raspberry Pi 4?
No.
They're having issues?
Yeah, well, what's happened is, of course, and this is a shock. It really is a shock. The Raspberry Pi people did not follow the standard for USB-C power connectors.
Oh.
And so it doesn't work with some USB-C power connectors.
Right. But the big advantage on the Raspberry Pi 4 is it's got a faster chip in it. So now they've built USB on board, they've built Ethernet on board, they've built Wi-Fi on board.
Well, the 3 had much of that. Also, but the 4 is much faster and much better.
Yep.
Comes with more RAM. And it's hardly more expensive. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
But they screwed up. I mean,
even computers.
USB-C is an open standard. All they had to do was copy the diagram, and they didn't, and now there's a problem.
Well, I've even seen some computers that the USB-C doesn't provide it as much power as it's supposed to.
That's this problem because they didn't follow the standard.
So it gives you 5 watts to charge your phone, but it doesn't give you the 30 watts you need to charge the computer.
Exactly.
Well, a lot of guys are using them for, in my world, for hotspots to control a ham radio.
Right.
And they love it because it's so small and compact, and they can remotely log into it, which is connected to their radio, and use it just like that remotely. But like you said, I was hearing a lot of chitter that it was out and they were all anxious to get it. But
I'd wait till the Rev B, because the reality is that you may not have enough power to do what you want. What the problem is it'll power the device. Mm-hmm. But if you add, for example, an external hard drive that's powered through the USB 3
which
port,
most of them are these days.
Won't work. Because it's just not providing enough power.
Well, these are what they're doing is to the Raspberry Pi. They're actually adding on another card that has, being additional stuff for the ham radio.
Right, but if that card doesn't it takes power, it may not work.
And this is one other thing that we've said, which is now holding true, which we've said for decades, is you can always tell the pioneers they've got the arrows in their back, and this is the first revision on it. And, it's proving true what we've said right along, that, it's got its issues.
One of the coolest things I just heard about someone using a Raspberry Pi for is a rocket vendor called Apogee Components. Or was it Apogee or was it Aerotech? Might have been Aerotech. So, you launch your model rocket and the parachute comes out and it floats away and you never see it again.
Yeah.
Well, so there's this thing called the chute release, which is a little computer that you program to release the chute at, say, 300 feet.
Right.
So it can go up as far as you want, then it will fall back down, and then the chute releases so it doesn't fly away too much. They're working on this new one where instead of just a regular parachute, it's a paraglider.
Oh.
Automatic GPS control. It will return back to where you launched it. It will fly the parachute and come back to where you launched it.
Nice.
Sort of like...
just for that, I could get into rocketry again.
Well, the hovercrafts...
And that's what the guys were saying. Yeah, we're old. We don't want to chase our rockets.
Well, the hovercrafts are doing that, too. If they start getting low on power, a lot of them will sit there and, they've got a homing, and they return back to home.
The radio-controlled ones, the toys. Yeah,
they'll come right on back. Because more folks...
Because otherwise it's sitting out in the middle of the lake, and now what?
It doesn't float too well. But... a lot of us, the ham operators, are using it now to run lines up into a tree, because that's always an art.
Oh, you're not talking hovercraft. You're talking drones.
Quadcopters.
Quadcopters.
Either
drones.
or.
Yeah.
Either or. They can sit there, and they'll tie a fishing line now to them, send it up over the tree and back down, whereas... Like a lot of us have sat there and tried using sinkers and all this other stuff. We throw it up in the tree.
Yeah, like you're a ninja.
And then it gets wrapped around the branch, and it's like, oh, shit! I got one tree out back that's got more sinkers and parts. If the tree doesn't fall down from the weight of that, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, yeah, we're going to take a quick break. I know we have Mark from Greece on the line. Stay on the line, Mark. We'll get back to you right after the break. Back in just a couple of minutes with Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, Mark from Greece, and you. It is 29 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. That's right. It's Sound Bytes right here on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Computer talk you can understand. More Sound Bytes is next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
The success of any business depends on its ability to offer value, a great quality product or service for the right price. Businesses themselves need to get value for the things they need as well. As an underwriter of Jazz 90.1, you can get the word out about your business, what you do, where you are, and how to reach you. Underwriting messages are straightforward, simple, and easy to remember. Underwriting at Jazz 90.1 is a great way to promote your business while supporting public jazz radio. For more information, call the Jazz 90.1 business office at 966-2660 today.
The young men and women who become United States Marines come from our hometowns to become a part of something greater than themselves. This commitment represents the highest level of steadfast allegiance to the betterment of our communities, our country, and our Marine Corps. journey will be one of the most challenging, but also one of the most rewarding. The few, the proud, the Marines.
This is Rob Linton, station manager of Jazz 90.1. Annual membership contributions and business underwriting keep our programming on the air. The future growth and excellence of our station depends on our ability to also build a permanent base of support through an active and successful legacy gift program. Please continue your gift past a lifetime by including Jazz 90.1 in your will, trust, or general estate plans, and join us in building a legacy of giving to support public jazz radio in Rochester. For more information on planned giving, you may visit jazz901.org or call us at 966-2660. Thank you.
I fish. I clean local waterways so others can fish and swim. I provide fishing and water safety education to kids. And I maintain a healthy fish population so tomorrow's anglers can enjoy a catch. All because I buy a fishing license. When you buy a fishing license, you do a lot. In fact, every dollar from a license purchase protects and maintains your local waterways for future generations to enjoy. Learn more at takemefishing.org.
Follow Jazz 90.1 on Instagram at WGMC Jazz 901.
If you want to support Jazz 90.1 a lot, but your budget says only a little will work, there is a way. It's called the Jazz 90.1 Jazz-O-Matic membership. You can support Jazz 90.1 with a monthly gift of $10 or more, while enjoying the many great thank you gifts that we offer. Jazz 90.1 will deduct that amount automatically every month, and should your circumstances change, you can cancel at any time. Support Jazz 90.1 the way you want to, without bruising your budget, Jazz-O-Matically. For more information on becoming Jazz-O-Matic, call 966-5299 or pledge online at jazz901.org.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Follow Jazz 90.1 on Twitter at 901jazz.
Do you know your animal farts? This is Sandra Tinglow with the Lowdown on Science. Who makes more flatus than your lovable but aging dog? Ruminating animals like cows and sheep, that's who. They chew their cuds at one end and release methane gas from the other. P.U. Around 20% of the world's methane emissions comes from these critters. That's a big contributor to global warming. But rumor had it that ruminant-like animals, such as camels, don't produce as much methane as true ruminants. Veterinarians from the University of Zurich decided to find out. Doesn't that sound like fun work? We'll spare you the smelly details and cut to the chase. Marcus Klaus and colleagues say, ounce for ounce of food, camels spew the same amount of methane as cows and sheep, but the total amount of gas produced by camels is less. That's because camels' metabolisms are lower, so they eat less and thus produce less gas. That's one shortage no one is going to complain about. Camel milk lattes, though? That's another story.
The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California Irvine Science Communications and 89.3 KPCC. On the web at LOHDOWNonscience.org.
This is Sandra. Follow us on Twitter at LOHDOWN.
Jazz 90.1 weather.
Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes will enjoy a fine weekend of weather, and with so much happening across our region, you couldn't ask for better timing for this. We'll have an ample amount of sunshine for the day on Saturday. It will be warmer than yesterday, the high temperature in the middle 80s, but dry and free of rain during the day. Tonight brings some clouds and isolated shower well north of the Thruway. The overnight low temperature into the low 60s. Times of clouds and sun and a cooler breeze Sunday. Looks like a fantastic one. The high in the middle 70s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got partly cloudy skies, 79 degrees out at the airport, and 84 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Jake Longwell, hoping you can stay up late for an hour of the best in classic and contemporary jazz. It's the Jazz Scene, Sunday mornings at 1 a.m. on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 36 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites and patiently waiting on the line, Mark from Greece, New York. Hi, Mark. What's up?
Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Question for Steve. Having a problem with music playback on my iPod. I'll go to play things, and these are things that have been ripped, by iTunes, and it will tell me that they're not available in my country.
Huh.
So you ripped them from a CD?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like the copy protection, which only comes when you buy the song. Oh, do you have iTunes Match turned on by any chance?
No, I
what's
do
the
not.
other one?
Yeah.
How about Apple Music?
No.
Okay. Because iTunes Match will match the songs you rip and give you theoretically higher quality versions from the store.
Mm-hmm.
But if it thinks your song is not available in the U.S., well, what country is your?
It doesn't hurt to check.
Yeah, you could check on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what country are you signed into in iTunes?
Yeah, no, it's United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very strange. Looks like other people are having that problem.
And then what I do is if I go through and I try to play them, they'll all gray out. Then if I go and I plug in my sync cable, and then I'll go to play them, and they play fine. After I resync the iPod.
What changes? Which iPod is it?
It's 128, the latest version, 128 gigabyte.
Classic or touch?
Touch.
Okay. Check the date and time, and check the country the iTunes store is logged into on the iPod.
Okay.
Because that could be set to the wrong country. Well, and that would kind of make sense. So if your iPod thinks it's in Italy and the song is only in the U.S., then it's not available in your country.
Yeah, right. I thought those were all set properly, but I will recheck those.
Yeah, those are the most likely causes.
Especially songs that you ripped from CD should have no protection at all on them.
Right.
That's very strange. I'm searching through their forums to see if there's anything. And so that's why I was thinking it might have been matched to a song in the library, in the store, and not your local library.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all those things are off, but I will double check them.
Weird. Yeah, I don't have an answer offhand, but I'm digging through the forums, and a couple, they're blaming you turned on Apple Music is on. Even if you had the free trial, it might be trying to get to the music from the store and not the music from your local list. That's an option too. When you go into the music app, you can say downloaded only.
Yep, and that's usually where I play them from.
Yeah, okay.
And it still does it, yeah.
That's just all the wrong answers. And they play okay on the computer?
Yeah, they play fine, like I said. But if I go through and try and play those songs, and then, like, say, it happened with Journey's Greatest Hits. Went to play those songs, wouldn't play. Then after they all grayed out, I plugged the sync cable in, resynced them. Now it's been days, and those ones play fine now. Then it happens to other ones, and then as I go through and find them and I resync, they seem to stay fine after that.
It might be quicker to erase the whole iPod and resync everything.
I had just recently done that. And
you've got to stop giving us the correct answers to things.
I just recently, this is what I'm saying. I had recently done that because I kind of made a mistake, and I went through and I used a program called MP3 Gain, because I have a lot of older music that's been ripped, and they're like really low volume. So I tried to level off my music, and it just made things horrid. So I had to go to a backup of my music, so I had to clean everything out. I even did a fresh download of iTunes and put everything back in its place. I took everything off the iPod, redid that, and the same problem occurred after I did that, too. And I did that by accident because I used that program, and it just didn't work out right. So I went off my backups.
Yeah. I would do what Steve suggests. I would check to make sure you're in the right country. I would check everything. Check to make sure you're using the downloaded version, because restoring may have done something as well if you haven't checked recently.
Okay.
But I would check all of those things and make sure that all of them are set the way you think they're set.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to double check. So
right, exactly.
I will double check all those things and make sure that they're set properly, and we'll see what happens from there.
Perfect.
And that's
Thank you.
Yep. And that's supposed to be the advantage of ripping your own music, is that the store you bought it from can't shut down.
Right.
We're running into that now in the DVD arena. Is it Ultraviolet is shutting down? Voodoo is shutting down. So if you bought digital downloads from any of those stores, you're screwed.
Yep.
Download them all now. But now you have a copy-protected download that won't play because it can't talk to the server to prove you bought it.
Right. I don't know how that works on Google. I've bought any number of movies through Google. I don't
think Google puts any copy protection on them.
I don't think they do either, because I know that when we flew to Arizona the last time, I downloaded a couple of movies, several movies as a matter of fact, to my Chromebook, so I could watch them on the plane, and they just came down and I played them and everybody was happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done the same thing to my tablet. So that was easy. So I don't know if they do it or not, but maybe I should make sure I have everything.
Are you logged into your same Google account on each device?
Yes.
That's probably what it is.
Maybe. That may well be true. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is Dan from Rochester, New York. Hiya, Dan. What's up?
Yes. Well, a couple weeks ago, you mentioned or there was a story, and afterwards you asked, have you ever been scammed? And I called, and that's the reason why I'm calling. Although this has a happier ending. So couple years ago, I did fall for a computer tech support scam.
Uh-huh.
And but I was it was one of those. I basically I realized after the fact it was a scam. I said lesson learned and moved on. Well, early June, I got a voicemail from I got a voicemail, and the scammers called back. So it was your standard stuff. Man with a noticeable Eastern Indian accent with a North American name,
right?
And so the message was the weird notification that they were auto renewing my my service.
Right.
If I had any questions, please call. So I did. Probably against my better judgment.
Right.
And I told Sam was his name. I told him that I wasn't interested in renewing the service, and he asked why, and I told him that's because there are a number of reputable and knowledgeable computer repair and service service shops in where I live, and so there was a cancellation fee.
Oh.
They were going to try to get me coming or going either way.
Yeah, a lot of times if you get tricked by it and pay them the first time, they'll call back a little while later and hoping you'll pay them again.
Yep.
The
thing to do is to call your bank and deny the charge and make sure that they are not allowed to take any money out of your accounts.
Yeah. What a lot of the bad guys have started doing is instead of saying they're going to offer you a cleaning service, like a one-time cleaning service for X dollars, which you can say is fraudulent, they're offering you a 1 or 2 or 3 year service contract for X dollars. And you can call them anytime you want during that time. And that makes it much harder to claim fraud with your credit card company because you didn't buy a thing you didn't get. You're buying a thing you could get if you wanted to.
It's a service.
It's a service. It's not a thing. And so it makes it harder to dispute, so the bad guys lose less money on disputes.
Right. The other thing to remember is never say yes or any sort of agreement sound.
Acknowledgement.
Like, mm-hmm, or okay or whatever. Never use those words because they will record them and then make a tape that says, do you agree to this service? To
And
paying
even-
for this service? Yes.
Or even if you say, mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's
do
agreement.
None of those things. So, if somebody says, is this Nick Francesco? I answer, I am he. Or more likely, I answer, who did you call?
I usually say, how can I help you?
Right.
Always throw the attack back on them. What is this in regards to? You always got to throw it back at them.
I can always tell because they pronounce my name wrong.
Yeah.
You don't really know me.
Right. I get a lot of Francesco.
Yeah.
Or they'll sit there and say, well, we're calling about your account. All right, could you please verify the account number?
Yeah.
Well, and they try. Well, if you're calling me, then you should have the account number which you're questioning. So please verify it.
Yeah, because they throw that on you. We're calling to verify account. Please give us the number. No.
You tell me.
I'm not going to to give you the number.
Yeah, you tell me, and I'll let you know if that's the correct one.
I'll tell you what. You give me the first half. I'll give you the second half.
Yeah.
But anyway, Dan, I'm so sorry you got scammed.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you were smart enough to not fall for it a second time. Now, call your bank and make sure that they are not allowed to auto take money out of your account anymore. Get them off of the approved list for your account and move on.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
Bye.
It's Dan. Dan did the right thing the second time, and that's important. It's very hard, particularly if you've not been listening to this show, or as what happened to Dan, it was a year ago, to realize immediately that you're being scammed. We've said this a million times, but the reality is nobody reputable is ever going to call you anymore. It's just not going to happen.
No, especially Microsoft or anybody else, and they'll sit there, or if they say they're from your bank, well, tell you what, hang up. You can look up the number for your local bank and call them.
Or the number written on the back of your credit card so you know that one's right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you have to, like I've said for a long time, if you've got to stop and think about it, don't do it. Clicking on links or answering stuff and all that, no. If you got to stop and question it, hang up or delete that email. If it's that important, they'll get in a hold of you, especially the IRS or the government or anybody else. Sorry, they don't make calls like that without your knowledge.
Right. The problem is we're in our own homes, and so the cynicism muscle has relaxed.
Yeah.
But what you have to do is remind yourself and think, if I were approached by this person on the street, what would my response be? Mm-hmm. And I'm talking something legal. It doesn't involve violence.
Even going back to, say, Social Security. This is one I can relate to. And when
you're old.
Yeah. And I finally just got my, started taking mine. But they first send you a letter saying, all right, we're going to, set up a call and all that. What times would be good for you? And I had to fill out this form, say, oh, yeah, this one would work. And I had to mail it back to them.
And they had a phone number in that letter that said, this is where we're going to call from.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was sending it right back to an agency right down there for the Social Security. And they said, okay, we're going to call. They then did call me a couple of weeks ahead just to verify. And they said, just to verify us, here's my number and this, and please call us back. So I had to call them back at the 800 number, and you hear that it's a social. All right, yes, we're setting it up, and somebody will be calling you on this day. And they did it, and it was great.
Yep.
But, again, they don't just call out of the blue. They set things up because they're too busy. They just can't do random calls to say your account's been hacked or this or that.
And honestly, if I got a random call like that, well, I got a call from my bank one day. And it was, this is M&T Bank. And immediately I'm going, yeah, sure it is. And they said, did you just buy, I think it was half a dozen fur coats in Florida? No. All right, we will kill the charge and we're going to void your credit card. Please come in and get another one. And that's all they said. They didn't ask me for any numbers. They didn't ask me for any information. And I thought, okay, if this is a scam, they didn't get any information from me at all.
There was no questioning of what your account number was or anything else.
And they told me, go to your branch and get a new card.
They know all that stuff before they call you. It's
That's
on their screen next to your phone number.
That's exactly right. And I got that one day too. I got this thing said we went blah blah, and I said, well, you've got the number right there in front of you, don't you? Dead silence. And they said, well, we're having problems with the computer. I said, okay, call me back when it's fixed. Click.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it could have been legit.
I fix computers too. How about you pay me some money and we'll fix your computer?
I did that many years ago when I was moving to New York City to be an actor. I'd already been doing computer stuff for a while. I went into the bank and they said, we can't give you your money today because the computers are down. I looked the guy in the eye and said, I fix computers for a living. You let me at that machine, I'll have my money in 10 minutes. He said, I'll be right back. They came back with a check and I had my money. But yeah, it's you got to be aware, you got to pay attention, and you got to be cynical. I hate to say that.
And especially, do not, I don't care under any circumstances, ever accept the fact that they say you got to go out and buy, whether it's iTunes cards or any type of gift card. The minute they mention that, hang up.
What legitimate company takes gift cards as payment to something?
Yeah. Never will, never have, never going to happen.
Right.
It's just a fact of life. So if they sit there, the minute they do that, I don't care, even if they say they're the federal government and they're sending the police, hang up on them.
Yep.
Send them right over.
Please.
Be glad to talk to them.
Come on down.
I'll
tell you what, I'll even give you my address.
I got one of those calls. Your child, I think I talked about this. Your child is in jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said, really?
Darn kid of yours.
She probably deserves to be there. But I didn't. But they said child, so
wait,
they
your
didn't
wife
know.
Doesn't listen to this program.
No, she doesn't.
Good.
But they said child, so they didn't know the sex of my child. I picked up on that right away, and I said my child is in jail. So they're waiting for me to say him or her or a name. Yeah. I said my child is in jail. They said yes, your child is in jail. You need to bail your child out. Well, how do I do that? Well, you can go to the store and take out iTunes gift cards. I said, let me get this straight. I said, where are you? She said, well, we're in New York City. I said, okay. I said, so you're telling me that the police department in New York City takes iTunes gift cards as bail money?
What precinct?
Yes, sir. That was my next question. And we went on and on and on. And I said, well, you know what? What was my child arrested for? Because I still haven't
Yeah, and disclosed.
What was my child arrested for? Moment of silence. There was something that drugs. I said, my child's been doing drugs? Hold on a minute. She's sitting right here next to me on the couch. I'm going to beat her to death right here. And I hung up the phone. And while you're sitting with her, she looks at me and says, what did I do now? I said, you were selling drugs in New York City. She said, darn it, I got caught.
Selling or using. It could have been.
Could have been either, but right. She said, darn it, you caught me.
Yeah. So hand them over, darn it.
Yeah, right. Don't bogart those drugs. But yeah, so be aware, be careful. We've talked to several people who've been caught by essentially that same scam.
Yeah, a number of them have also paid. They get the warning on the screen, which we've again told folks. That their computer is being hacked. And you got to call this number. And we've heard a number of folks that have been charged up to $350.
Right.
They're part of a scam, and all they do is take the money and then they run. And if you had simply just turned off the machine and turned it back on, it would have been gone.
Right. The other thing is they're asking for Bitcoin. Well, Bitcoin can't be traced.
Right.
But how does the average person buy Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Of course, that'll happen now with Libra. But
I've seen some of them give instructions on how to buy Bitcoin in the ransom notice.
Yeah.
But there have been a couple of cities recently that voted to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in ransom fees instead of the tens. Well, no, actually, I'm conflating two stories. Was it Atlanta and Baltimore? Both spent $8 to $10 million recovering from a ransom notice, and the ransom was only $50,000.
Yeah.
But there's three towns in Florida now that have been all hit, and the ransom is in the $500,000 range, which is a lot of money. But you're still probably going to spend more than that in IT costs to try to get your data back.
All right, no. Okay, I spent a lot of years as a systems administrator. Every one of those systems administrators needs to be immediately fired. There should be fairly constant backups, and they should be off-site, unreachable. And if they're not, then that person should be fired.
And that's the problem. People will have a backup. If you're lucky, there's a backup, but it's plugged into the computer. So when that computer gets hit with ransomware, it encrypts the data on your main computer and your backup drive.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. And I get that individuals don't do this, but I do, and certainly companies should do this.
Yeah.
It should be an unconnected backup. You connect to make the backup, and then you disconnect immediately. All right, that music tells us we're done for a first hour. We'll be back again shortly. We're taking a slightly longer break, but we'll be back with Dave Enright, with Steve Ray, with me, Nick Francesco, and with you. If you're on the line, please stay on the line. We'll get right to you. If you're not on the line, why not? Give us a call. It's 59 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the longest-running computer show in the known universe. Holy cow, that must mean we are Sound Bytes, right here on the Truly Great. And we remain truly grateful to you that we can continue to be member-supported Jazz 90.1. We will see you on the other side.
Online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at soundbytes.org. More with Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
WGMC Greece Rochester, a public service of the Greece Central School District. Jazz 90.1.
On Twitter at 901 Jazz.
Barry has now become a Category 1 hurricane as it bears down on the Louisiana coast. Correspondent Clayton Neville is in New Orleans.
All flights in and out of Louis Armstrong Airport in New Orleans canceled. In downtown, transportation shut down for the day. No buses or trolleys. Most businesses closed, some open with food, but that very rare. Most people in downtown seeking shelter and bracing for several inches of rain.
Immigration raids are expected to begin tomorrow in major cities. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottom says she learned about the crackdown via Twitter.
There was no coordination, and it's unfortunate because we've had great coordination in the past with our federal partners to put on large events like the Super Bowl, and we've had a responsible relationship. But unfortunately, in dealing with things that quite often come from the White House. They are inexplicable and irresponsible at best.
I'm Ann Cates.
Here's another I Love New York travel tip.
A great New York State tradition is continuing right now in Saratoga Springs with the historic Saratoga Racecourse hosting its annual summer meet. July 11th through September 2nd, enjoy great horse racing and special events, including the $1 million Whitney Stakes on August 3rd and the 150th running of the $1.25 million Travers Stakes on August 24th. In addition to the finest in horse racing, the area is also home to many fine cultural and recreational activities. Enjoy world-famous musical acts at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center, tour the National Museum of Dance, and take advantage of the best in fishing and water recreation at a number of local lakes. For more information on Saratoga's 2019 meet and other area attractions, visit the I Love New York website at iloveny.com or dial 1-800-CALL-NYS. A sure bet. Find what you love in New York State.
The young men and women who become United States Marines come from our hometowns to become a part of something greater than themselves. This commitment represents the highest level of steadfast allegiance to the betterment of our communities, our country, and our Marine Corps. The journey will be one of the most challenging, but also one of the most rewarding. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
As a Jazz 90.1 listener, you have the ability to leave a lasting gift to the jazz community. By making a planned gift, you can support Jazz 90.1 for many years to come. For more information, contact your financial advisor or call 585-966-2660. You can also find out more about planned giving by visiting www.jazz901.org.
Hey family, this is Marcellus Shepard the Bass Man. Join me and Cal LaRue for the Cool Jazz Countdown, Monday mornings at 6 a.m. and again Saturday nights at midnight. Here on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
You already know it's smart to listen to Jazz 90.1. And now you can listen to Jazz 90.1 on smart devices, such as your Amazon Echo. Just say, Alexa, play Jazz 90.1, and she will.
90.1, Jazz 90.1, WGMC from TuneIn.
To learn more, visit jazz901.org.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
Jazz 90.1 invites you to our annual Jazz on the Lawn Summer Concert Series. Enjoy a free outdoor jazz concert on Tuesday, July 23rd, featuring the Brockport Big Band. This concert will be held on the grounds of Greece Olympia School, 1139 Maiden Lane in Greece, beginning at 6:30. Snacks and beverages will be available for purchase during the concert, so bring chairs or a blanket and invite all of your family and friends to enjoy this great free outdoor jazz performance. No alcoholic beverages or tobacco use is permitted on school grounds. Concerts will be moved indoors in the event of rain. For more information, visit jazz901.org. We'll see you there.
When you underwrite the programming of Jazz 90.1, you make your business known to people who enjoy jazz as much as you do. Your on-air message is short and tasteful, making it easy to remember with basic information about your business, including how to reach you. Underwriting is economical, too. To find out more about underwriting Jazz 90.1, call 966-2660. That's 966-2660.
Welcome back to America's longest-running computer show, Sound Bytes, on member-supported Jazz 90.1. Get online now. Call 966-JAZZ. That's 966-5299. Toll-free 800-790-0415. Or submit your question by email at soundbytes.org. Once again, here's Nick Francesco, Dave Enright, and Steve Ray on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And it's 6 minutes after the hour. We, and I know this will shock you, are Sound Bytes. And we have Jack, who's been patiently waiting on the line from Ontario, New York. Hiya, Jack. What's up?
Hi, fellas. I have HP Pavilion 6000. I turned it on yesterday, and all of a sudden I get this blue screen, and with different languages, and it doesn't go any farther than that. And I don't know. Do you think I got a serious problem?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, you do. How old is this machine?
How old is it?
Yeah.
Well, let's see, Pavilion 6. Probably about 8 years old.
Yeah.
What version of Windows?
Windows 10.
Yeah, the HP Pavilion 6000 is a pretty old machine.
Yeah.
I
tried a lot of things. I shut it down and everything else, but it's just frozen. It comes out with a blue screen, and it comes out with languages. You click on the languages, and then it's like a round, like they want to try and solve it or whatever. They got it, and nothing happens. I pressed F8. I did whatever.
Yeah.
In a rootkit.
Well, it's any one of several things. It's an old machine, so it could be a hard drive issue.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's likely to be that because that's what it sounds like. It could also be as Dave said, it could be some sort of malware, but it's more likely to just be an 8-year-old hard drive.
Yeah.
The fact is, Google did a study. They have hundreds of millions of hard drives, and the average lifetime of a hard drive is 5 years.
Oh boy.
Well, and that's an average, right? Which means that some of them die out of the box and some of them last 10 years.
Yeah, or longer.
So you're still in the zone, but 8 years is a decently long amount of time. You take it to a reputable dealer, have them take a look at it. It is
do a diagnostic on it.
Right, they'll do a diagnostic on it. It is quite likely, my suspicion at least, is that it's the hard drive. They can replace the hard drive. As to how they get your data back, I'm hoping you have backups.
Be honest with you, though, just to step in there for a second. Replacing that hard drive, I wouldn't spend the money on it, because what it's going to cost them in labor and everything else to replace the hard drive and set it all up, he could go out and get another machine, right. Even a laptop, a Chromebook. Or what do you usually do on this machine? Well,
emails, Facebook, the
basic
normal
stuff, yeah. So even after replacing the hard drive, you get a brand new hard drive, but it's an 8-year-old motherboard, an 8-year-old video card.
You can go out and get laptops, decent Windows 10 laptops right now for $300-400.
Yeah, well, you know what? These people like these desktops. I don't know why, but I don't know. It's just like.
Desktops are generally cheaper than laptops because they don't have to be small and portable. But people like laptops because they're small and portable.
And you can still go to the Dell website or any of the others, HP and that, and they still do sell desktops. Matter of fact, you could even get some deals on some refurbs. It might not be the gaming machine, but they've got some other low-end machines that are great. And, still will run to Windows 10.
Cost? Any idea? Is this is it worth it?
I would be honest with you.
Yeah, it could cost you $200 to replace the hard drive. It could cost you a couple $1,000 to replace your data.
Yeah, because just to put the drive, switch the drive out, you're talking labor that they've got to do that, and then set everything back up to install the operating system back on that machine. So that's all going to take time, and you could, you're talking the price of a drive and a couple hours labor.
Yeah, unless you know how to do that yourself, then you just pay for the drive and do it yourself.
No, that's why I'm calling you guys. You're the best.
Yeah, then I would seriously go in, let them do a diagnostic fee. Diagnostic fees are usually very minimal, and they can tell you whether the machine is worth saving or not. And who knows, if you go even to local places around here, they might even be able to build you a new box for a decent price.
Because it's always nice to have someone to look at when you're having issues with your computer.
We always say look local first.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with that.
There's a number of great places here in Rochester. Check them out, and just don't go with the first one. Go shopping around and get a price. Kind of figure out what you want to do with it. If you're not a gamer and all that, you don't need, super fast video card. A good, maybe even just standard video card off the motherboard would be fine. At least 8 gig of memory minimum, and then go with a terabyte hard drive. You'll be all set. The monitor and all that's still good. So all you're looking for is a box.
Oh no, my monitor is Acer. And I really like that.
All you got to go for is the expense of the box. You don't need a monitor.
Or a keyboard or a mouse.
Well, he's going to probably need a keyboard and mouse because depending on that old system.
Well, they're 8 years.
They might still have the old PS2
but that's
connector.
$20, $30. So here's the thing from my point of view. The second most important thing is price. The most important thing is, do I like the people I'm buying from?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Dave says go around, try several stores, find somebody you're comfortable with, somebody you like.
And see about their warranty. A lot of them, will usually, like we used to always do, 3 years on parts.
Yep.
And there's plenty of other places around that will do the same that are here. And again, you got to face, you don't have to ship it off. If something goes wrong with it, you're not shipping it off long distance.
And you got a face to look at.
You can run it down to your place that you bought it from and say, hey, broke, fix.
Okay. So that's your opinion, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
It's like me calling the hospital and asking for a doctor, telling them I think I'm going to have a heart attack.
Yep.
Right.
Well, what do you think you can do?
Yep.
Bring it in.
Yeah.
Right, bring it in. Yes, exactly right.
We got to check you out. But
like I say, we've got no axe to grind, and that's why we can talk, very biasedly, unbiasedly. Well, bias in that we
are biased.
No, we are biased in the fact that we say buy locally.
Yeah.
I am very biased in that point because I was a small business person, and I like to support.
You're not in the business anymore, Dave?
No, I retired, and I still do it. Well, I do it part time, but I don't build. I don't build machines, and I don't build the machines anymore.
Oh,
we got out of custom builds too because the amount of research time you put into finding all the pieces together, you can't make any money anymore,
right.
Because the pre-built ones are so cheap. And then in a month when you want to build more computers, all the things you bought last month are now gone and replaced with something else.
Right.
Well, there's a place that I think they used to call them Lightspeed or whatever. Maybe I shouldn't, but I mean they would ask for like an upfront, like $65, and if you don't do anything else with it, you're out.
Well, see, a lot of them. I did the same thing. Diagnostic fees are always paid up front
because it's still your time and effort you're putting into the computer.
Well, and you probably had this happen to you too, Steve. People will drop the reason they do the upfront charge. And this is one thing we used to always say. It was a $50 diagnostic fee back then. And I'd say if you went with the repair, then we'd put that $50 towards the repair. Otherwise, if we didn't charge up front, people would come in, drop their computer off, and it's deader than a doornail. And, we did all this time on it. And I'd say, well, you owe us $50. Well, I'm not paying for it. It's dead. What do I want?
And
Throw it out.
And they never come back. We have a container full of computers that
I had a number of them too. That's why we changed our policy.
We can't throw them away because they're not ours. This is weird New York state law. They don't belong to us. You got to hang on to it. Yep. We have to hang out. So we're charging a storage fee. So if they ever do come back.
Well, you need a sign that says anything left over 30 days.
We do now.
Yeah.
We did it then.
But that's why they have to charge an upfront fee because as a store owner, we used to get stuck with a lot of product.
No, it's not worth fixing, so I just won't come back and pick it up.
Yeah, I had a number of them like that.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your input. And,
hey, like I say,
all right, good luck, Jack.
We're both biased and unbiased.
Right. Thanks, Jack. Bye-bye.
We're a two-sided coin.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem for the average home user. Like we would, we have our diagnostics discs on us. We try it, reinstall Windows to see if that works. But for the average home user, you're relying on that store that has that expertise.
Yeah.
I joke with some of our customers. I was just at a manufacturing plant the other day. I have no idea how to build your machine.
Right.
And you have no idea how to fix the computer.
Right.
Yeah. Together, you build your machine, I'll fix the computer.
That's how it works.
Well, that's like I used to always say to folks too, and as far as pavement and all that, usually I have this agreement with the bank.
Yeah.
They don't fix computers and I don't float loans.
That's exactly right. Well, I had that discussion with my mechanic the other day. I had a muffler issue. And I could have crawled under the car and seen that one of the bolts had rusted off and put a bolt in a bracket and it would have been fine. Mm-hmm. Or I could pay him to do it. And I paid him to do it because we were joking about this. I said, I'm not paying in this instance because, if it's something serious, I don't know how to do it. But in this instance, I'm not paying you for your expertise. I'm paying you for the tools and the grease monkey.
And the convenience of throwing it up on a lift
to
work at it, then trying to get underneath the car.
Exactly. I can do it. I choose not to do it.
Oh, yeah, no.
But in this case, I also don't have the tools. Had it been something more than a bolt and a bracket, I would not have had the tools.
Right.
And so that's why you pay a professional for his or her expertise, and secondly, the right tools.
And nowadays, they've moved into computers too, because you can't fix a car without plugging in the diagnostic code.
Boy, that's the truth.
Which is so a lot of people. My son likes to work on cars, and so he bought one of those little diagnostic code things, and he bought an old 2000 Jeep because you can still work on it yourself.
Yep.
But it's so big, he's got to climb up on top of it to get down into the engine compartment. Yeah. And we've replaced the neutral safety switch twice, and the code still says there's a problem with the neutral safety switch. So the first one he bought was cheap. The second one he bought was good, and so there's something else wrong.
Something else wrong.
Throwing the wrong code.
Yeah, I get every once in a while I get low tire warning, and at this point it's very clear that it's the sensor.
Yeah,
that's bad.
My wife has the same thing in her front passenger tire. Every so often,
that's where mine is.
It's bad sensor.
Yep.
She goes, well, we got to get it. And no, we'll worry about it sometime when we're taking it in for routine.
And make sure it's full of air. And if it is, I stop worrying about it.
Well, the thing
and then a couple miles later, it goes off again.
Yeah,
so
and then you can
anymore.
Check it and see. Yeah, it's right up there with the rest of them.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
anymore.
It's stupid.
All right,
actually, those the tire monitoring things are often Bluetooth modules in the tire.
Yep.
That talk to the computer. They are eminently hackable.
Oh, yes,
There's almost no security involved in it. So you can be driving down the street. Someone can get into your car through the tire and mess with your car electronic system.
Yeah. I drive a Nissan Cube. Nobody cares about it, so I'm safe.
I got to interrupt for a minute. Andy, for some reason you got disconnected. Please call back again. We'll get you on there. It all of a sudden dropped them.
It's life.
Great phone system here.
In the meantime, I will read...
Oh, here he goes.
I will read this news item anyway. Or we'll wait. We'll just wait and talk to Andy from Greece, New York. Dave is quietly
pushing buttons,
moving him over to the system, and we're on. Are you there, Andy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, what's up?
The gentleman who just called, Dave?
Yeah.
It sounds like he really likes his desktop monitor.
It's Jack, but okay, yeah.
And from the sounds of what he does, a Chrome box with a new keyboard and mouse would probably be a very inexpensive and very functional alternative for him if that old HP box is not recoverable.
That's exactly right. But if what we didn't ask is what Dave did ask what he uses it for, but we didn't find out if he specifically needs any Windows-based programs.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why he's got to go to a store. They can sit down and take the time, and that's where
I'm not arguing with that. It's just what he said was email and Facebook and things like that.
Yeah, but again, he didn't go through the whole list, Andy.
Right. Yep. But you're right, Andy. If what you do is if particularly if it's Gmail, any of the web-based email programs, and just maybe some light word processing stuff, and various websites like Facebook and Twitter and yada yada yada, then a Chrome something, whether it's a Chromebook or a Chrome box or even a Chrome stick, is probably more than adequate for most people's needs. You're absolutely right.
I was just thinking it's a very cost-effective answer, and he doesn't have to deal with the quote-unquote laptop configuration if he's not comfortable with it.
Right, exactly right.
And a Chrome box is basically very inexpensive, and if you already have a good monitor, as you said, the keyboard and mouse, you can get anywhere from $29.99 to $69.99 and get really nice keyboard and mouse combo.
Right.
It'll plug right in, and he's off to the races.
You got it.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks, Andy. You too. And Andy is quite right. If you've not looked at Chromebooks and Chrome boxes, you really should. If we've said this a million times, if you're using the Chrome browser on your desktop, spend a week or two playing with it and see what you use other than that. In general, most people get online and what they use is the browser and almost nothing else. Maybe they play a couple of games that happen in Facebook, or they're playing solitaire, which you can get for a Chromebook and things like that. If what you do is doable on a Chromebook, and to be honest, there's nothing I do that I can't do on a Chromebook, including edit video and audio.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can do everything on a Chromebook these days, a Chromebook or box, Chrome OS device. And why would I spend hundreds of dollars more and open myself up to viruses and problems when all I have to do is buy a Chrome device and I'm done? We are finding that most people don't, sadly, I mean, I admit it's sad, don't actually need a Windows machine or a Mac or a Linux box. They can do everything they want to do on a Chromebook. And of course, the new Chrome devices will be, it can not only, the new Chrome device, the current Chrome devices, the newer ones can do Android apps. So if there's an app you like, you can certainly find it for your Chromebook. And the newer ones that are coming out next will also run Linux programs. So now you've got the best of all worlds. I'm holding off I believe my Chromebooks, both of my Chromebooks, are now done. They have reached end of life, which means they're not going to be updated anymore. But I'm waiting for September-ish to see what the new batch will look like, and I'm going to buy one that will absolutely run Linux programs as well, because there are a couple of things that I do that I have, how do I want to put this? Semi-automated using Linux, and I would like to continue to do that. So we'll see, but we should see something new in September or October, or August rather, back to school, or into Christmas. So we'll see.
So Apple announced their back to school promotion.
Yeah.
And it's a free Beats headphone.
Ooh.
Well, up to the $350 Beats headphone. And so one of the more snarky reviewers, probably in Gizmodo, said, you should just buy a Chromebook and use the headphones you already have.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I don't like about Beats is it's all bass.
Well,
and I get that that's the point, but it doesn't help me.
The new ones are interesting because I've heard some reviews on some of the Mac shows I listen to, and yes, if you listen to rap, the bass is emphasized, but if you're listening to rock or classical, it's not.
Interesting.
So there's more intelligence in the speakers now to better utilize the frequencies that are coming in, so it doesn't sound too overly bass when there's no bass.
That's nice. That's actually very nice. But yeah, if you haven't looked at Chromebooks and the things that they can do, I believe you'd be pleasantly surprised. There's just an amazing number of features that are available on a Chromebook. And like I said, I carry a Chromebook almost everywhere, and I have yet to find something I cannot do. In fact, I've written 3 books and am in the process of writing more on a Chromebook. And even in places where there is no internet connectivity, I can happily write. And then when I get back to internet connectivity, it syncs right up, and so it's up in the cloud, and you know, everything is fine. So you should if you're looking at a new product, particularly if you're looking at, you know, you've already got a desktop, and many people still do. If you've already got a desktop that does all the things that you want it to do, but you're looking for something to carry around, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a Chromebook that does what you need to do when you're not sitting at your desk.
Because most of the time when you're walking around traveling, you just want to check your mail and look at websites.
Right.
You're not doing, you know, quote unquote work.
And the other important thing for me is when I travel, if my Chromebook gets stolen or lost, I'm out very little money and no data. Well, bonus.
Yeah.
You know, that's perfect. If I want to, I can just change my Google password. Although I don't have to, because you still can't log in to the thing. You can't get into the thing. But yeah, so I would say, particularly if you're a traveler, take a look at what you can do with the Chromebook. Oh, there it is. I was holding the sheet this way and didn't see. I thought he handed me a blank sheet of paper. What's going? Oh, there it is. All right. We do have somebody on the line, but we've also got to take a break. So please stay on the line and hang on. It'll be a minute or two till the break starts, but or it'll be right now. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with Magic Dave Enright, Steve Ray, me, Nick Francesco, Don from Pittsford, and you. It is 28 minutes after the hour. You're listening to Sound Bites on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Before you call into our show, please make note of the following rules. 1, turn your radio down. 2, turn your radio down lower. 3, remember, nobody has invented a good-sounding speakerphone yet. Don't use them. 4, make sure you have a point. It makes for a more interesting show. 5, calling does not guarantee you'll get on the air. No whining. 6, if you do get on the air, please do not tell the host what you just told the screener. We don't care. And 7, is that radio turned down yet? We hope this will make for a more enjoyable program, and we thank you for your time.
It's America's longest-running computer show. Back to more Sound Bites with Nick, Dave, and Steve. Next on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Official WGMC contest rules are available online at www.jazz901.org.
In many countries around the world, medical care is scarce. Countless millions have no access to safe surgery. Mercy Ships is there to help. Mercy Ships provides free surgeries for the thousands of those who are waiting for surgery at each port.
Mercy Ships is bringing services to countries that would otherwise never be able to access those services.
Find out how you can help by visiting our website at mercyships.org. That's mercyships.org.
That is the call of a ring-tailed lemur resonating through the wildlands of Madagascar. And that's a male koala bellowing in the eucalypt forest of Australia. These animals speak different languages, but they both have the same story to tell. Their species are in trouble, their habitats are being damaged, and they need your help. Join the San Diego Zoo Global Wildlife Conservancy at endextinction.org and fight to preserve and conserve the homes of these endangered species.
Did you know you can listen to many Jazz 90.1 programs on demand in our online audio vault? They're like Jazz 90.1 podcasts, where you can listen on your computer or on your phone with our Jazz 90.1 Android or iPhone app. Hear the latest editions of Sound Bytes, The Blues Spectrum, Big Road Blues, The Soul Jazz Spectrum, Soulstainable Living, Jazz 90.1 live in-studio concert recordings, and other shows too. To listen on your computer, go to jazz901.org, then to the Listen tab, and pull down to Audio Vault. Once there, scroll down to see all the shows and simply hit the play button on the show of your choice. On our Jazz 90.1 phone app, click the name of the program to open and play the file. The Jazz 90.1 Audio Vault. Just one more way Jazz 90.1 takes jazz further for you.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
Make a day with the Jazz 90.1 Enhanced Member Card and enjoy 2-for-1 savings all day long. When you make a gift of $90.10 or more, we'll send you a Jazz 90.1 Member Card. Then enjoy savings at hundreds of restaurants and attractions near you. Call 966-5299 or visit jazz901.org right now and let your savings begin.
That is the call of a ring-tailed lemur resonating through the wildlands of Madagascar. And that's a male koala bellowing in the eucalypt forest of Australia. These animals speak different languages, but they both have the same story to tell. Their species are in trouble, their habitats are being damaged, and they need your help. Join the San Diego Zoo Global Wildlife Conservancy at endextinction.org and fight to preserve and conserve the homes of these endangered species.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help. Every year, first responders and police are injured or killed while assisting motorists on the side of busy highways. The law says that when you see flashing lights on the side of the road, slow down and move to the next lane. Disobeying the law can result in fines and criminal charges if someone is injured. So if you see a police or emergency vehicle on the side of the road, slow down to at least 20 miles per hour below the speed limit and move to the next lane. To learn more, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
And now, your Jazz 90.1 weather.
Rochester, Western New York, and the Finger Lakes will enjoy a fine weekend of weather, and with so much happening across our region, you couldn't ask for better timing for this. We'll have an ample amount of sunshine for the day on Saturday. It will be warmer than yesterday, the high temperature in the middle 80s, but dry and free of rain during the day. Tonight brings some clouds, an isolated shower well north of the Thruway. The overnight low temperature into the low 60s. Times of clouds and sun and a cooler breeze Sunday. Looks like a fantastic one. The high in the middle 70s. I'm meteorologist Josh Nichols for Jazz 90.1.
And currently right now we've got a few clouds out there. 83 degrees out at the airport and 88 here at member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Hi, this is Jake Longwell, hoping you can stay up late for an hour of the best in classic and contemporary jazz. It's the Jazz Scene, Sunday mornings at 1 a.m. on member-supported Jazz 90.1.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Nick Francesco.
I'm Dave Enright.
And I'm Steve Ray.
And at 35 minutes after the hour, we are Soundbites, and we have Don from Pittsford, New York on the line. Hiya, Don. What's up?
Good afternoon.
Thank you for your patience.
You're most welcome. Do I remember correctly on your program a few weeks ago, you advised not to download updates for Adobe Flash Player?
Well, not exactly. You should download the Adobe updates. Don't download the fake Adobe updates.
Yeah.
And the trick is knowing which ones are fake and which ones are real.
Yeah. Any particular signs that one can look for?
Well, ignore all of the update notices you see and go to adobe.com and download it yourself manually from Adobe. That way you're sure it's the latest version.
Okay.
Directly from Adobe.
Also, don't get too excited about Adobe Flash because it's going away next year.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of people have removed it, and that most browsers will block Flash already. And the websites that used to use Flash, many of them have switched over to HTML5 now. So you may not even need Flash in your system anymore. And because it is such a vector for malware and viruses, you're usually better off deleting it.
Is the newer program, would that be compatible with an older computer, like the HP 6000 series?
It's the browser and your operating system. And pretty much Windows 7 or later can run an HTML5 browser.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is your browser of choice?
Generally Chrome.
You're good. You should be good.
And Chrome has Flash built in. You should never install Flash separately.
Right. So if you're unless you are using programs on your computer specifically written for Flash, and there haven't been any in 10 years, you can safely uninstall Flash.
Okay, I think that's probably good advice. I continue to get these update notices probably at least once a week, and I guess I didn't recall exactly what your advice was, so I've rather ignored them and not done the downloads.
Most of them are probably fake.
Yeah, are you getting them when you're in your browser?
No, I'm getting them when I'm working email.
Oh, then they're definitely fake.
Same, yeah. It's probably the same thing then. So
they look absolutely legit in terms of logotype and appearance of the Adobe screen. But
yep, many of them are. In fact, we get a kick out of the fake Flash update notices that don't take an extra 5 seconds, literally 5 seconds, and get the real Flash logo.
Right. But many of them do, and as Steve was saying earlier, he got one where everything was right except one link, which is the link they wanted you to click on to get the update.
To remove the program, to remove Flash Player, I simply go to Add Remove Programs. Would it be listed there?
It might be, but Adobe has their own specific uninstall Flash Player program that I just posted on our website.
Oh, okay, all right, and that would be that would also be obtainable on the Adobe website.
Correct.
Okay, tell me again, what is the replacement or other program that you advise?
It's nothing that you would install. What's happened is because Flash is so horribly, horribly unsecure. Most web browsers have abandoned it entirely and have replaced it with something called HTML5. But that happens at the server end. You don't have to do anything different.
Okay.
You don't need to install anything for Flash programs anymore because most browsers will prefer the HTML5 version if there are both, and many places have stopped using Flash altogether.
Okay. Thank you very much for the review and good advice, and appreciate it.
Thanks. Yep. Have fun.
And a lot of those fake notices are getting better and better, looking realer and realer. It's kind of like the scare messages you get claiming you have a virus or claiming somebody is hacking you. Although I suppose the message saying someone's hacking you is true. It's them. They are hacking you now.
Right.
So they aren't committing fraud. They are hacking you.
Right.
But yeah, the fake messages that don't use the right logo when the logo is easy to grab, and a lot of times it's coming from it used to be it came from the pirate sites and the porn sites. But now regular websites are getting hit by malicious ads, and it's so easy to stick a JavaScript in an ad and say you need to update Flash and point you to a malicious download.
Right.
So you're on HBO website or DNC website, and there's an ad that has a malicious code in it.
And the ad companies are pretty good about getting rid of those, but they're not instantaneous.
You were lucky enough to be first. That's why what Dave says, turn your computer off, wait a minute, turn it back on. It's probably gone because they found it and removed it by then.
Yeah. Right. All right, back to the phones. Our next caller is either Sam or 3 a.m. from West Henrietta.
Sam.
Hi, Sam. What's up?
Hi, guys. I picked up a Lexmark Wi-Fi Interpret S405 printer, and I can't see. I have Wi-Fi, and I can't seem to connect the two. What am I doing wrong?
What happens when you try?
Nothing. Nothing.
You should get it. Does it see your network?
Yeah.
It doesn't recognize nothing.
Does it find any network?
I don't know.
Well, you have to run the wireless setup wizard on the printer in order to tell it to join your network.
Okay, I don't know. How do you do that?
That would be in the instructions that it came with.
Do you
Most of the time,
do you know what number it is? Is it an S405?
S405, you said, yeah.
S405, correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. In that case,
if you go through the front panel, there's probably an option to run what's called the wireless setup wizard, and we're looking for a link to put on ourselves now.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't see nothing here,
but it would be definitely in the manual that came with the printer. Most printers come with a big fold-out sheet of quick setup instructions.
Now you do have wireless in your house. You know that's working.
Or a CD. Usually, sometimes with the CD, it'll have instructions on that.
Yeah.
Or a video.
The CDs are usually old versions, and you want to download the latest driver.
Right, but no, as far as that part, but as far as the basic instructions on how to set it up.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is for
this is guys. This is a brand new. This is used. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And I know there's no. I'm reading the instructions. They said a CD came with it, but I have no CD.
So then you have to download it from a Lexmark website.
Oh, okay. Okay, that sounds good.
And on the front panel, if you go through the menus, there will be instructions for how to set up the network, and there's usually something called the wireless network wizard or wireless setup wizard.
Yeah, given a dedicated IP address.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Guys, can I ask you one more question?
Quickly, yeah.
Oh, I have Windows 10, and I noticed on your website you got Windows Update problems. Will my update automatically go because I have Windows 10, or I got to monkey around?
Yes.
Yes,
it'll be one or the other. Here's the problem.
No guarantees.
Microsoft has, in the last, I want to say year and a half, since the start of 2018, Microsoft has not had a Windows 10 update that didn't screw up somebody.
Okay.
And it's a crapshoot as to whether or not that somebody includes you this time.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you should keep it up to date because, particularly this month, many of the updates are security updates that absolutely must be installed.
Okay.
It is not an impossibility that doing so will screw up your computer, but that's the crapshoot of Windows 10.
And that's why you want to have a backup before you do anything like that.
Right. Make sure all of your data are completely backed up. Make sure
I got automatic backup daily.
Good. And any programs that you have downloaded and installed, make sure you have those original downloads backed up so that you can reinstall them if you need to.
Okay.
And anything that you installed from a CD, make sure you have the CDs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because if it does, in fact, bork up your system, then you're probably starting from scratch.
Oh, ouch. Okay.
Which also means make sure you've got a Windows installation disk. And if you don't, you can download one from Microsoft. But also make sure you've got your number, not serial number, what do they call it?
Product key.
Product key, thank you. Your product, I can never remember that term. That you've got your product key securely saved somewhere. My suggestion is you print it out and tape it to the side of your computer.
If it's not already.
If it's not already.
If it was printed on the side of your computer, it may have rubbed off by now. Or if
Right.
it was on the bottom of your computer, it could have rubbed off
Right, they're
by
usually
now.
put on the bottom of laptops, and by the second month, they're invisible.
Yeah.
So make sure
Sounds
you've
good.
got that, and make sure that you've got that safe and secure somewhere in case you do need to reinstall Windows. You may still have a hassle with Microsoft because their base assumption is that everybody is a thief. But you can, in fact, prove that you own the system, and you should be able to get yourself back up and running.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye. Yeah, it's... I mean, I do get it. I absolutely do get it. They make their living from selling an operating system, and they don't want people stealing it. But the reality is... many people are, and so they need to be careful. And I get all of that.
I find it interesting with Windows 10 that it doesn't nag you as often.
Yet.
But what it does do is it doesn't let certain features work.
Right.
So like when I needed to install a Windows OS to get the programming app for my airplane receiver, I didn't want to buy a Windows PC for that.
Right.
So I installed the VM, downloaded Windows 10, ran it, and it ran enough to run this one program, and then I deleted it.
Right. Well, and I have done the same. I need to check when I do the newspaper column. I need to check my steps, and so I do that, and I do have a legitimate copy of Windows 10, but it's running in a VM.
Yeah.
I don't need it running all the time. I don't need a separate machine for it. I just start up the VM, figure out what I want to do, and go away. I do everything else in Linux or my Chromebook.
I've been running a lot of stuff in Wine lately, and it works pretty well.
Yeah.
But the airplane program, I needed to address a USB device, and that didn't work well.
Wine is an acronym, a recursive acronym. It means wine is not an emulator, and it lets you run many, not all, many Windows programs under Linux or under the Mac OS. And I use a program called Kindle Create. When I write a book, I run it through Kindle Create before I upload it to make sure it's all good. And that is a Windows-only program, but it runs great under Wine.
Yep.
And I believe it's not Windows only. I believe it's Windows and Mac, and it runs under Wine. So I use Wine for that. But, you know, many people are finding that they have less and less actual need for Windows. Many people are using, instead of spending any money for Microsoft Office, they're using LibreOffice or Google Docs or...
Google Docs.
Whatever. Yeah. I've been more and more impressed. They just did an update to Google Docs, and it has many more features than it had even before. And one of the things that I use significantly, in fact, is the voice typing. You turn on voice typing, and then I just talk to my computer, and it puts all the text on the screen for me. It's eerily accurate, by the way.
How far we have come.
Yeah, it does not. You know, you need to. It's dictation mode. So you put in the comma, a new paragraph, and period, and all of that stuff.
You're still not typing
because it's not Battlestar Galactica. It's type it.
So I'm running Real Flight for Windows. In Wine on my Mac.
Yeah.
It's an RC aircraft. This is the older version, but it works great.
Works great.
But I can't find the throttle key. I've got the rudder and the aileron and the elevator, but which key is the throttle?
You're going to crash and burn.
Something you're not going to have known, but there is something called a manual.
RTFM?
That you could look up.
This is the free demo that I downloaded.
Okay, there's a manual somewhere.
There's got to be a key somewhere to tell me.
But yeah, that's a...
Can I just use can I grab the joystick? No, I can't even grab it in the picture.
All right. So the thing is, we have a real... How do I want to put this? We have a real battle going on among operating systems. Many of you are running Macs. Many of you are running Linux, whether you know it or not. Chromebooks are based on Linux right now, at least. Android,
which
is
came from
based on
Unix,
Linux.
so the Macintosh is the original.
No, it isn't, because the Mac
Mac is
doesn't
based
use-
on Unix too. Yeah,
Mac is running the Mach kernel, which
Yep.
is also based on Unix.
Yep.
But Windows is no longer the dominant operating system that it was. It ran originally at 90%. I think they're down to 80, 75-ish somewhere. And that's still highly
That's still
significant,
decent, yeah.
but not from Microsoft's point of view.
Yeah, well, if you had a 95, 98% market share and it's suddenly down to 90, you're scared, let alone
That's bad.
80.
Right, let alone 80. And that's one of the reasons that for years, and they haven't done it yet, but for years they've been talking to their investors. You never lie to the investors. That's rule one. They've been talking to their investors about the fact that they want to make Windows a subscription service and that you will pay every year for the privilege of running Windows. And if you stop paying, you stop being
They're going to
allowed
have to do
use it.
something, because how are they going to make any money if they're just going off the sales of Windows 10? You know, there's
There
still
are people
all those
who still-
other millions of machines out there that were upgraded from Windows 7 and Windows 8 that are running Windows 10 right now.
Or that are still running Windows 7 or Windows 8 and haven't updated yet.
Yep.
And Microsoft makes no money from them, and that makes them unhappy.
Well, again, all the millions of machines that went from 7 to 8 up to 10, they're still not deriving any money from those.
Right.
And there's millions of machines out there, because we hear it weekly just here in our city. Well, I upgraded to Windows 10. Microsoft is not making dime one off of them.
Right.
And they've got to come up with some type of plan. It's just the handwriting on the wall for this business to stay in business, to make some money and to keep the shareholders happy.
Right.
I mean, it's just a fact of life.
Microsoft is not a B corporation, so they're in it for the money. So I would be aware.
That's kind of how Gates set it up to, you know.
That's how pretty much most companies set it up, unless you're a B Corp.
I thought they were an
obviously.
S Corp.
Yeah, I think you probably
Sunk.
Or some other letter of the alphabet, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But the fact is that there is a serious need on Microsoft's part to continue to make money. That's their job. Their job is to, because they are not a B Corp, their
That's
job is to maximize investor.
That's true with any company. I mean, it's just a fact of life.
Fiduciary responsibility.
Wherever you work, I mean, unless they sell product, you're not going to have a job.
Right.
The same with Microsoft. It's no different.
Right. And so they're looking for ways to do that. And people talk to me all the time. I heard you said we're going to pay for Microsoft. I'll never pay for it. Okay, you have the right to not pay for it.
Yeah.
They also have the right to say if you're not paying for it, you can't run it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple enough.
Yeah.
And that's then you make a choice. I have not paid for Microsoft since in 20 some plus years, almost 25 years. I haven't paid for any Microsoft product, and I've been perfectly happy.
Didn't I just read that Microsoft released Windows 1.1 in a web app?
Yes, they
so you can run
specifically did
Windows?
that to because Stranger Things 3 it happens in 1985, and that's when Windows 1 came out. So they've released essentially a game that looks like you're running on a Windows 1.0 window.
Yep.
It's very cool. If you're a Stranger Things fan, take a look at that. It's a very cool thing.
It's 1.1, not 1.0.
Right, it's 1.1. That's 85. That's when that came out. There's simulators online for Apple II and for this and for all kinds of things that you could run if you wanted to. And the Pet computer had one for a while. Acorn had one. A bunch of them had stuff that was out there. And so you can run that, particularly, like I said, if you're a Stranger Things fan. It's actually pretty cool. All right, that's it. We're done for another week. I want to thank every single person who called in. We're very appreciative. We're done, but don't go away. George is coming in to play the best German music you will hear all week long. We will be back next week with a whole lot more of the longest-running computer show in the known universe. That's right, it's Sound Bytes, right here on the Truly Great, and truly grateful to you that with your generosity, we can continue to exist. Member-supported Jazz 90.1. For Dave Enright, for Steve Ray, I'm Nick Francesco. We will see you in just 166 hours. Be kind to each other, will you?
Make a day with the Jazz 90.1 Enhanced Member Card and enjoy 2-for-1 savings all day long. When you make a gift of $90.10 or more, we'll send you a Jazz 90.1 member card. Then enjoy savings at restaurants, cultural and family attractions, bed and breakfast, wineries, lodging, and more. When you use your Jazz 90.1 member card just a few times, it pays for itself. You can even use the convenient member card app to find benefits near you. Call 966-5299 right now or visit jazz901.org. Grab some savings and have some fun with your Jazz 90.1 Enhanced Member Card.
We are there.